What? No yin, just yang. I'm removing all the yin from my life and going full yang. What will be the consequences of this? Oh my god. We're going full yang. In this episode, we'll talk about why billionaires swear by this one weird fiction book and a bunch of other obscure commonalities that we found between them and compiled here for you. Secondly, Guru of the Week, who is either the second coming of Christ or a complete sociopath. And lastly, we're pitching a business idea to the UFC and Dana White that should get acquired for at least $1 trillion. So, put on your seatbelts, let's get into it.
Dude, every time I come here and we do one of these podcasts, you give me a new drink. They all taste horrible.
They all taste horrible.
They're not good.
In this episode, we're drinking True Kava. It has the kava root in it. The reason why your tongue feels numb is it's the same compound used in, or that makes your mouth or nose feel numb when you do cocaine.
So you're basically feeding me cocaine.
No, it's legal. It's over the counter, and you can buy it online right now. They're not sponsored, so don't buy it unless they pay us for it. I've got something really juicy for you.
Okay, let me hear it.
A friend of mine who was never into any fiction books or any fiction movies or anything like that started listening to this long audiobook. And I was like, how did you get into that? And he told me, you know what? One of my mentors, he told me that for some reason, independently from each other, a bunch of billionaires listened to this audiobook, and they said it really impacted their thinking. And it just did something to their brain. So naturally, I went and read the whole series.
Okay.
And I see why, for whatever reason, those billionaires said this is a book that you got to read. Another commonality that he also shared with me is that they all learned to play chess. They either got really good or at least got proficient in it, where they could cause some damage. And he played chess as well. And so today I've compiled a list of weird commonalities between billionaires that are obscure but revealing.
Okay.
You know, it could be weird books that they read independently from each other and then recommended. It could be unique habits that they implemented. I know you love habits and biohacking and stuff like that.
Love that so much.
And even just like different quirks that they had. Because I think whenever we see outlier success, whether it's a top athlete like Michael Jordan or Mike Tyson or people like a billionaire, we all wonder, is there some secret that they know? Is there something that they learned from a weird source, a supplement that they take, right? You don't think that because you hate biohacking, I get it. Maybe it's a psychedelic trip in the jungle, right? Like, I think that's what people gravitate to, right? It's like this idea that there's some sort of secret. And I believe, yes, there are certain influences that if you take them in, they do radically shape a human being. They can really change someone's thinking. So, am I promising that if you check out these resources and you'll give it a shot that you're going to become a billionaire?
Maybe.
Yes.
Got it.
I am. So, put on your seatbelts. Let's get into it. First thing is, do you read fiction books?
Yeah.
Yeah? Which ones?
Actually, Alchemist.
Okay. That's a popular one. Yeah.
Is a good
It
one.
has a beautiful message, right?
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, okay, Harry Potter. I listen to it forwards and backwards in multiple languages. But what billionaires have in common is that they liked specific fiction books where a lonely but a brilliant individual changed the world. Makes sense, right?
Okay.
The first book was recommended by a bunch of them. So Jeff Bezos said it was a source of inspiration. Bill Gates said it's an intellectual challenge. Spoiler alert, it's not Harry Potter. Elon Musk said it helped him with his strategic thinking. And then Mark Cuban also said it understood leadership and also strategic, strategy in complex environments. That book now isn't as niche anymore. Dune. Have you heard of it?
Dude, isn't that the movie that they just built?
Yes.
Everybody has been telling me to watch that movie, and they say the book has been incredible.
Read the books.
Okay.
Especially book number 4. So I read the series 1 to 4. It has 6 books. I heard the last 2 are not that great. 4th one, amazing. And I see why, for some reason, they love it. Again, it's because there's one individual changing the world against all odds and common belief. There's a lot of systems thinking and also long-term strategy thinking, because you have all these different you have all these different factions and societies, and there's a lot of politics in it. It's almost like Star Wars, but for adults with more complex ideas.
That's so interesting, man. I've literally heard that so many times, and I think you're like the cherry on top. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give it a chance.
Read it. Read the books. I think the movies did it really well too. But I think what's fascinating is what you also see in that series is, one, you have this leadership and strategy theme where you have this visionary character, right? Paul Atreides, he's the young of the son of this lord. He becomes the leader. He gets overthrown, and he's on this desert planet with his family where they have this thing called spice or melange, which is like this monopoly on this one drug that is only on this forsaken planet that has really harsh conditions, and they control that monopoly. But then there's a bunch of politics happening in it. You see this resource management that billionaires actually have to implement in their businesses, right? They create certain moats around their business, whether it's through licenses or specific data that they have access to, or Elon Musk now, doing Starlink, and then also connecting with all the cars, probably all the Tesla cars and all that. So it's fascinating. That book, recommend.
Okay, good to know.
Next book. Have you heard of Ayn Rand, the author?
Mm-mm.
For whatever reason, a lot of people that are highly successful read those books and it really had an impact on them. Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead. I only read The Fountainhead, and it's about this guy who is an architect, and he goes to architect school and whatnot, but he goes completely against the grain. And everyone looks at his architecture and is like, that is ridiculous. And meanwhile, you have this other character who plays by all the rules. He looks for all this approval. He wants to do it right. And he has all this success because he does all the things that he's checking all the boxes, but he's not fulfilled. And secretly, he's always looking at that weird architect who has no followers, no fans, but does something that he really believes in. Not to spoil the story, but you'll see what happens throughout the story on who ends up being more successful. Yeah, it's fascinating. And I like reading fiction books anyways, especially in the evenings to wind down, because I tried the whole like reading self-improvement books or like books about health before bed, and it's not good.
Not the same. Because at that, you hear some good things, and then you just take a step back and you're like, let me go back. All right, and now I'm trying to go to sleep, but I'm also trying to focus. And it's not like this like cute, like, oh my God, hey, just go into this fantasy world. It's like, hey, make money. All right, now I'm thinking about making money, and now I can't go to sleep. And now I'm thinking about the next thing I could do in my business. And then you're just, no, it's not. I agree with you. It's not the best form of sleep.
Yeah, and then you're just like, oh man, I should take notes on this, and I gotta implement this.
So
just like, you get so excited. I like to get excited in the evenings about my goals, and it's bad.
Would you recommend audiobook?
With Dune, so a friend of mine started listening to the Dune series. I have no idea how he would be able to retain anything, because it's such a complex book. There's so many different. The first 30 pages, it feels like you need to like, you're learning so many new terms that you've never heard before. I don't know how you can retain information just listening to it. I would read it personally, but maybe that's because I'm more of a visual learner, not an auditory learner. I don't know. I don't know how people can retain information when they just listen to it, because it's so deep.
Okay, wow. I mean, you're really selling it.
And the main character, here's the fascinating thing: you have these different factions, right? You have the Harkonnens, they're the bad guys. They use fear and power to control people, right? Then you have the Atreides, they're more about culture and honor and duty, and then you have the Bene Gesserit, who are like kind of like the witches. They're like a group of highly religious women who are incredible at human persuasion. So they're super disciplined in their mind and in their body to influence people, to the point where they can even use the voice on you, which is like a specific way of using your voice so you can make someone do anything. Okay. And it's almost like magic, right? And so you have all these different disciplines, and the main character is somebody who is looking to master all of them. So it has this self-improvement theme in it, right? And then he also tries to lead the indigenous people on the desert planet, which is the Fremen. And they're all about like grit and resourcefulness. And man, that character is super inspiring. So highly recommend.
I'm sold.
Fountainhead, also highly recommend. Atlas Shrugged, haven't read it, but the author Ayn Rand, Billionaires and just people who make shit happen. They love her philosophy, which is called objectivism, which is this whole idea that pursuing your own happiness is the highest moral. And by doing that, we create the best world. So those are the book recommendations that I found that, for some reason, really resonate with billionaires. Second thing is I found a huge correlation between highly successful people and strategy games, whether it's board games or video games. So chess, mentioned that before. Toby Lutke, Shopify CEO, StarCraft 2, obsessed.
Star what?
StarCraft 2. Have you heard of it?
No.
No? Strategy game, fast-paced. And I think it's just a representation of business, but instead of doing it over a decade, you do it in an hour. Yeah. Right? You make so many high-level decisions, and you take risks, and you make strategic bets. Elon Musk, did you hear about this? Recently, he became supposedly the top Diablo 4 player in the world after a record clear time of 152 in the game's toughest challenge.
Dude, that's insane.
How?
This man just is doing like everything.
Yes.
But also, like, how do you have time to get this good at a game?
Well, it's not just this game. That's the funny thing. He also talked about another game, Polytopia, which is.
Can we see some actions or can we see some footage of like Diablo?
I can pull some up. You haven't seen it before?
No.
All right, let me pull some up.
This is so interesting. Dude, the more I get to know about Elon Musk, I'm like, dude, this man really is doing it all.
Imagine this. Your life's mission is become the best Diablo 4 player in the world. You grind away. You play hours every day. This is all you do. You're literally the South Park character. You know the fat one that's like in the South?
Yeah.
That's you.
At the back.
And all of a sudden you see someone new on the leaderboard, number one.
Elon.
What the fuck? Elon Musk?
But also, now he has your respect. Think about it. If I busted my ass off to get known by Elon Musk, I think that's
but he just beat you. And he's running multiple different companies. Come on, look at this one here. I think this describes it perfectly. How the fuck does Elon Musk run 6 companies and get number 19 in the world in Diablo 4? Now he's number 1. I run 0 companies and I'm Bronze League in Rocket League.
That's so spot on. Do you think he might be on the spectrum?
Oh, absolutely.
And do you think
I think he's off the spectrum. That's how far he is.
See, but that's the thing. So I feel like the things that captivate him, there's like this level of obsession that happens because he might be like different than everybody else.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because this is not
he's totally different.
Yeah, I don't think the same things that excite us excite him.
Well, I think that's a commonality between these crazy billionaires anyway. They're just people who are obsessed. Well, the same thing happened with a video game called Polytopia, which is a mobile game. It's like a civilization simulator. You colonize territory, you lead tribes, stuff like that. He called it the best game ever. He's been known to play the game with his brother Kimball, yada yada. He says it's more complex than chess, and he appeared near the top of the leaderboards as well. Same thing there. What is happening? Now, the fascinating thing is, this is not the only example of somebody who was crazy successful and then also randomly becomes number 1 in different disciplines, just as a hobby, as a little side mission, as a little side quest. MrBeast. Gonna be a billionaire, no question.
100%.
He might already be, right? He got really obsessed with the board game Catan. And just in general, he loves board games. So a friend of ours, Dylan, I don't know if you met Dylan. He has a YouTube channel. He's got like I think the most successful channel on Catan. He got in touch with Jimmy as well through Catan. They play Catan together. And he played hundreds of hours. Jimmy Donaldson, MrBeast. Hundreds of hours of the game Catan, maybe even thousands. I mean, I don't know. And also talked about the Dune strategy game. So it pops up again. So
Okay.
there's a Dune board game that he joined, and here's what he did. He got so obsessed with the game that he hosted a tournament for the world's top Dune players.
MrBeast?
Yes.
I'm hosting a Dune tournament where I'm flying all the best players in the world, literally 2 days from now.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's a $20,000 prize, and it's like the French champion, the last 3 world champions, like the top 10 on the ELA leaderboard.
Are you going to compete?
Yeah, of course. So
Nice.
I'm flying them all down, and we're like, literally, I'm hosting a tournament 2 days from now. And it's kind of funny because Yeah. Basically, the problem with Catan though is there is like a lot of RNG. At the end of the day, it is just dice roll, and
RNG, random number generator.
Keep it going. I'm curious. Was he gonna say anything interesting?
a typical dice curve should go up and then down. But sometimes you just have games where it goes up, drops,
Right.
and so I tried to find. It's so funny. People would not expect this to be about board games, but I tried to find a board game that was a little less RNG. But then the problem is like chess, it just gets to the point where it's purely skill. And then in my opinion, it's like who's willing to give up the most of their life? Because like I feel like I could be a phenomenal chess player.
That's what it comes down to, right? Who's willing to sacrifice more? Who's willing to castrate themselves, have no intimate partner, and just grind chess for?
Okay, so this is interesting. What is the deep rooted desire or the need to be the best at something at this level?
Power.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it's just fun. It's just winning is fun. I mean, I know you don't have many experiences of it,
Got it.
but
Wow, thank you. What else? Let it all out. Anything else you want to get off your chest? Let it all out.
you don't know what it's like to win, Iman.
You're right.
I get it.
Dude, no, but seriously, think about it. It's like, yeah, power, but I mean, taking it a step further, it's like billionaires. I don't think they really. They might care about power, but the reality is, I think they care about just the impact. Their why is so strong, and I think that's such a driving motive. You don't think so?
I don't think so. Elon Musk talks a lot about his why, planets, yada yada yada. We want plants, we want nature, all that stuff. I think that's 10% of what actually drives him.
Okay, so what do you think?
I think it's 80% of what drives the best talent to want to work for him. It's like, we have a big mission, cool. And I think it drives him too. I don't think that he doesn't believe it. I don't think, but I think people like Jimmy, like Elon Musk, like Steve Jobs, maybe Steve Jobs is different, but they just care about winning. They want to make something great. They want to win. I think that's it.
I mean, do you feel like an obsession for yourself?
Not as much. Not as much. It's something I'm tapping into again now that I'm like back into, okay, let's grind again. Let's put out content again. But I actually sat down recently where I was like, what is something that could drive me for the next 10 years? Like, what is, and it could be, sure, like, okay, the things that I want to achieve, the things that I want out of life. It could be, like proving somebody wrong. But I think the most consistent source of drive could literally just be, I want to be someone who's excellent at what they do. And just the pride that I feel when I know I did something really well.
Okay, so what's the point? When do you realize that? Is it like the bank account? Is it
Day to day. Day to day, how do I feel about it myself?
self-fulfillment?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what drives, I think, honestly, and also I think for Elon, it's just, he just, man, it's like to distract his brain a little bit. Because you have so much stress, so much high stakes stress in your business. Same thing with Jimmy. He's got like hundreds of employees, so much shit going on all the time in his businesses. Especially now with the drama that he's been accused of and all that. I hope that gets cleared up soon. You just want to play a board game and just like simulate reality, but it's not, you can still do the thing without the huge stakes.
Dude, you know what's interesting? I had a conversation with one of my really good friends. Again, he's a very successful entrepreneur. And he asked me a question that I haven't been asked in a really long time. And he really had me thinking. And I told him, I was like, hey, listen, I think I've hit a lot of success in the things that I've done. But I'm like shocked. Like, I don't know what the next step is. I'm kind of bored. I've gotten complacent. I've gotten comfortable. And he asked me, he said, well, what do you do for fun? And I sat there and I was like, I don't know. Because he's like, I see your personal life. You're always out with people. You're always doing things. But I also see your professional life. But the reality is, it's like, what is the fun thing? What's the activity you do for yourself? Is it sports? Is it the gym? Like, what is it? And I told him, I'm like, well, I used to like dance salsa and bachata and do all that stuff. And like played soccer. But that stuff stopped becoming fun. Like, it's cool, but it wasn't like, I mean, I wasn't like crazy excited about it. And I was really sitting there, I'm like, holy crap, I really have now focused on my just personal and then my business. But like, I got rid of like, all right, what is exciting me? And I feel like, your purpose comes down to like also what excites you. And if you can't find that out in terms of like what's that thing to like shut your brain off? Like how can you be completely present in that one thing where your brain is just not on work, not on relationships, not on anything but that specific thing? And I think that's what they found in games. You know what I mean? Whether it be video games where he's just like, I'm not thinking about my wife, I'm not thinking about my 11 kids, I'm not thinking about my businesses. All I'm thinking about right now is whooping their ass or winning this thing. And I think it's like, what is that for you?
Yeah. Well, there's also another commonality that is not obscure, which is why I didn't put it in here, because like I think it's kind of obvious, but it's worth mentioning. Like I think there's so many motivational videos out there, just like, oh, go up and crush your business and all that. I think if you need motivation,
It's not worth it.
don't do it, because I think those people, like the people that are highly successful in what they do, they just can't not do it. They love it so much. It's just how their brain works. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people who like try to be like Elon Musk or want to aspire to be him. It's like, you're not him, period. Your brain doesn't work like it, so don't try it. Like, find your own lane and just maximize that.
Dude, can I ask you a question?
One question only.
One question? Can I ask you two? All right.
That was your question already.
Got it. Well, damn.
All right, we're moving on. No, what's the question?
Okay. If you could, out of all the billionaires, if you could replace your life with one of them,
Oh, I already thought about this, yeah.
which one? I have my answer.
Replace my life?
or like the
being
habits.
me?
Like the habits, like for instance, like whose habits align with you the most?
So I'm myself
Yeah,
in
like
their life?
whose habits would you take upon? Like, you know what I mean? Like routines, like lifestyle.
Richard Branson.
That's mine. 100%. Richard Branson was the same.
He's not a technical founder, right? He's not somebody who's... I don't think that man has ever used a laptop.
It's brilliant, dude. Like, you see his life, and he's just master delegator. Phenomenal. I saw this video where it's this entrepreneur basically was supposed to go on a skiing trip with him, and he basically one of his friends called him and told him, "Hey, so Richard Branson's gonna go skiing with us." He's like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "Yeah." But how can he? He has 400 companies under him. So what Richard Branson does is he basically goes, meets with his assistant, his executive assistant, in the morning, and she just goes from 9 to 10, asks him the questions she can't answer or figure out, and he goes about his day. She does everything else for him. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, that's brilliant. You're a billionaire. You have all these things going for you, and you just take a step back and let her do.
Yeah. Well, it's the most difficult part of any business is finding incredible people. Because I think people that don't have a business, they're just like, oh, once you can hire people, then it's easy. No, that's when it gets started. That's when the really difficult stuff starts. Because
100%.
finding the right people, enrolling them into your company, retaining them, that's everything.
You got to constantly enroll them, constantly remind them why they're here and what's the point of the vision.
It's tough. And so those people, but all those people are so enrolling. Like Richard Branson, he's just a fascinating character. You want to be around him.
100%.
Right. And so you got to become that person. You can't just pay someone and yeah.
But it's also fun. Like, you can see he's a fun dude. The man's 73 years old, lives his best life, has his private island.
I bet also savage, but you don't see the savage side. Because he's so good at PR that he's just like, oh, well, I guess I'm starting an airline. But that's all PR. And then in
He's ruthless?
behind closed doors. Well, not ruthless, but yeah, ruthless.
Yeah. Listen, to be a billionaire, you have to have that, like, killer instinct.
Going back to the Dune tournament thing here. He invited all these people out. What do you think where he placed?
Top 5.
Top 5. This is it.
He also obsesses.
This is the final game right here. A bunch of people came. I think it's like 20 or 30 people. This is the finale right now. Jimmy's in it. Yeah, you can just tell these guys are board game fanatics. And well, spoiler alert, he won.
He beat them all?
He beat them all.
The best ones in the world.
He hosted it, he invited it, and this is him actually giving himself an award for like 10 grand or something. He's probably just like, oh, whatever, what do I do with this? Yeah, he beat them.
That's insane.
How?
Okay.
How?
Okay, hear me out. Do you know who Jake Paul is?
Yes.
Jake Paul calls out a lot of fighters. Do you think that a big component to why Jake Paul can win is because he can handle the pressure better than the opponents that he's bringing onto his like home field?
Oh no, it's because they're old retired fighters. That's why.
100%. But like also there's a level where it's like when he fights, there's still a level of like pressure. You know, I get what you mean. 100%. Like to Mike Tyson, bro.
How does
come
this
on.
connect to this?
Because think about how he's bringing them into like this high stakes pressure where like you're playing against MrBeast. Everybody's gonna see you play against MrBeast, and everyone the pressure. Like right now, the pressure they're coming. MrBeast has nothing to lose. If he wins, amazing. If he doesn't, amazing. He's not known for being the best player in the world. He literally has nothing to lose.
True.
Compared to them, where they have everything to lose.
True. I saw the video that Jimmy just put out too about the top athletes competing, where people go against Cristiano Ronaldo to win $1 million. I would bet Cristiano had so much pressure because he's like, well, I'm the number one star here.
Yes.
I can't mess it up. So I get what you're saying. Yes, it plays into it, but those guys, they're used to the pressure.
You think?
Yes, of course.
It's a different kind of pressure, though.
Yeah, no.
You don't think so?
No.
I think like the underdog always has the higher like the leverage.
Of course they do, but I don't think it makes a big difference. I don't think that's why he won this. He won this because
Also, MrBeast obsesses. It's disgusting. Like when he started his YouTube, he was like counted to like 1 million. Like the things he does, like if he does it, he's just like shutting himself in a room and learning everything he could possibly learn about it.
well, here's the thing. He also told a story on a separate podcast where he became number one in this weird mobile game, and he ended up actually hiring someone to help him run it. I think he became number one on the leaderboard too.
You know, he's doing like crazy things right for me, right?
And he hired someone, one of the top players, to like, hey, come work for me, and I'll pay you.
Like,
Yup.
And so that's where, you know, he's doing like crazy things right for me right now. Part of like why I'm so far ahead is like he's tracking the sleep schedule of the top players, so we know when they're
Oh
on
my
or not.
God.
We're like,
is
they're doing, I don't know if like
Yeah, we're gonna
probably-
move in real damn
you know,
life.
like things I can't say because then they would see this and I'd lose my competitive edge.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Like this wasn't through him, but just someone. I got intel. I was like, hey, this guy who just kept hitting me. I was like, I think he's going to put his child to sleep. And I was like, okay. He's like, do you want to? Because you want
Which
to
window
go
in the house
attack
is
his bases. And I was like, I'm not going to take advantage of him
Wild.
putting his child to
No,
sleep.
I want.
Isn't that wild?
Wild. This man's waiting for the person to put his kid to sleep, and just dude, man, I don't know if I care enough. Like it's insane. I look at this
Yeah,
stuff.
but that's why everyone has to find their own obsession, right? Like, what are you obsessed about? Where can you get so behind where you're just like, I love this? I think about someone like Tony Robbins, not a billionaire, maybe worth 500 million. That's okay. That's not bad.
yeah.
He's also obsessed about things. He's just not obsessed with techie stuff or strategy stuff, although he is like a life strategist, is what he calls himself, right? And I 100% agree. That's how I would describe him too. But he's obsessed with how to influence people, how to work with people, how to help people break through. And, you know, like that's what he's obsessed with. That's what he's constantly thinking about, right? If you're a salesperson, for example, let's just say, just in case there's a salesperson in the room here,
Human behavior.
you're obsessed about that. Yeah, human behavior.
I love human behavior. Like, see, and that stuff I can like. We have a conversation about that. I know like everything, every book, but it's like, it's wild. It's wild to see. Maybe I'm obsessed with the wrong things. I should go into tech.
No.
Just kidding. Just kidding. I'm telling you, man. That's where all the money is.
No. Media, what we're doing right here, this is tech. Because the thing about tech, the beautiful thing about tech is that you can replicate the same processes in a software, for example, times 1 million without proportional cost. So whether you have one customer or 1 million customers, it's not 1 million times more cost on your end. It's not like an e-commerce product where, okay, this is like $10 and it costs $3 to produce, and then, you know, it goes up linearly. The same thing happens with media. Media, videos, podcasts like this, is software. It's ones and zeros. It's us recording this podcast costs millions of dollars right now. The studio here that I put together just then.
Of course.
Millions of
Look at
dollars.
it.
Your
Beautiful.
time is worth a lot. My time, you know. But it could be watched by 10 people. Hopefully 100. Maybe we'll hit 100. Great ratings. We've got incredible ratings on the podcast.
Jesus.
Or it could be 1 million. And so it doesn't scale linearly, right? So we're in the right business.
Well, I mean, that's what MrBeast built it off content, views.
Yeah, exactly. He's a software entrepreneur, but the software is videos, it's pixels on the screen. So
All the big YouTubers. Because think about it, they all built their brand off specifically, like even like Logan Paul, Jake Paul, KSI. All of them, they literally have built it all. They built their platforms, and then from there, they got e-commerce, merch, products. Now they're doing collaborations. So it's your eyeballs, and it kind of goes back to the whole idea of like, I don't know if Hermosi said something really interesting, and I don't want to butcher it, but he said there are 4 things that are very valuable, that all billionaires like go for, and the one that I'm thinking about right now is just like eyeballs and leverage, and it's just like attention is the value, and it's like right now everyone's fighting for that resource of attention. How do we get people's attention? How do we get people's eyeballs? And that is worth millions.
dude, I think the less you can switch industries, or the sooner you can find your thing that you can just like claw your teeth in, the better. For Richard Branson, it was figuring out his ability to build teams, delegate, and enroll people, and just start new companies and make them 10% better. For MrBeast, it was figuring out YouTube. Logan Paul, right?
For Leon,
For Leon, I finally found my content thing, right? And yes, it switched from my old channel to this now. But man, if I started a new business now, like, you know what, let me get into e-commerce again. Let me get into, dude, like all that I've learned, all that I've done, it's not fully lost, but man, like the biggest returns come 10 years down the line. So the board game stuff. So Jimmy was on this podcast with this guy here, How to Take Over the World, Ben Wilson. I've met him a few times. We had a few conversations. He's a phenomenal guy. He's got one of the best podcasts, How to Take Over the World. Have you heard of it? Mm-hmm. So what this guy does is he summarizes biographies. He's like long books that are like hundreds, sometimes even up to 1,000 or more pages, and he summarizes them in a 3-hour podcast and distills the best lessons down, right? From conquerors, historical figures, top entrepreneurs. And the whole premise is Napoleon studied Charlemagne studied Caesar, and Caesar studied Alexander the Great. And so what all these people have in common is that they studied great people that came before them. They don't watch people like Hormozi. I mean, I guess they do, but who they really deeply study it's not mainstream. It's like these old biographies, right? And so he breaks these down. They're fascinating. And you notice commonalities between the top people in his podcast too. One of them, and this is what the My First Million podcast talked about too, is they ate very little. For some reason,
very little.
they ate very little. Rockefeller, Thomas Edison, Steve Jobs, skip breakfast, and yeah, sometimes they even tried weird diets, right? Steve Jobs, he was notorious for trying the fruitarian diet, right? So oftentimes also only eating lunch. Rockefeller was known for eating very little. People were always like, why are you not eating? And maybe there's some correlation between feeling physical hunger and actually being driven to go and get that bag, right? I mean, I think the biggest correlation would definitely be when you're not fully fed, you have more mental clarity and you do have more energy, and it does help with just energy overall. Thomas Edison only drank milk for months at times.
That's it.
And smoked cigars. Yeah. Tesla, Benjamin Franklin, Albert Einstein, they all turned vegetarian at some point when it wasn't cool. Why? Like, why these people? There's some commonality between these people that I think goes, you know what? Everyone eats this. Let me try something else. Let me throw a wrench in the system.
Do you think they just want to be different?
I don't think it's a desire to be different, that like, oh, let me just do something. I think there's people out there that do that. We're just like, oh, let me get 10 piercings in my face and look at how different I am. I don't think that's what drives them. I think it's just, they just look at things and just like, why do I have to eat all the time? There must be an easier way. How can I eat less? What if I just drank milk? How can I just save more time and do more of what I love, right?
Do you think like there's like secrets passed down?
What do you mean?
So like overall, like I think I'm not trying to like say conspiracy stuff, but like,
Whoa.
again, not conspiracy stuff, but I'm talking about like specific, like basically secrets passed down from generation to.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
We're back. We lost the boring part. So you said the podcast was boring so far?
It was kind of boring. Dude, I think the whole premise is like billionaires do things differently. All right. And like, what are the things that they do differently? I mean, they read books and they obsess over.
Yeah, but that's too basic. I want to find weird commonalities for some reason. a bunch of billionaires listened to this book and they said it changed their thinking. For some reason, they're into strategy games.
See, like that's captivating.
Let's get into strategy games. Okay. Yeah, but isn't that what we talked about the whole time?
We did, but we didn't really dive into like what makes a strategy actually effective. It's kind of like chess. Like chess, the biggest components of it is like, all right, you're moving 10 steps ahead. The best chess masters are thinking 10 steps ahead. All right. What's the underlying strategy within the strategies?
I don't think it can be pinned down what it is about strategy games that, like what specific strategy it is. It's just the idea that the strategy game is a microcosm of business. You have resource management, you have risks that need to be taken, you have an objective, you have competitors, it's real time or turn-based. And it's just a microcosm of learning how to make great decisions, how to take a risk, how to be bold, and also human influence. So for example, Catan is a game where you actually trade with other players and you're like, hey, if you give me 2 sheeps, I'll give you some rock and I won't attack you next round.
Okay, so then based on that, what I think would be more effective is what happened early on in their childhood that made them have this way of being.
This is where you and I disagree. Because I think it's a lot more DNA and genetics.
It's so wild. You really think?
It's the older I get, the more I realize, you know what? I was born a certain way, and me going against that nature. Like, here's the thing. I believe you can be an introvert and train yourself to become more extroverted, but it's going to take so much time and energy and resources that if you just put that into becoming a better introvert, you'll be way more successful.
So you don't think?
Because here's the thing. I think you can become a mediocre extrovert if you put in a lot of time and effort. Extrovert not meaning you're confident and introvert is shy. No, that's not what that means. It just means you draw energy from the external world versus the internal world. That's the right definition of introverted, extroverted.
So you don't think that based on childhood trauma, it'll push you to do something better in your life?
Yeah, no, that has impact too. It's not all genetics.
But
I think specific like ways of strategic thinking or just being so technically minded, like Elon.
So you have a rich dad who's very successful, who's extremely intelligent. And as you grow up, when you're 3, 4, the things you're doing are basically strategy games. You're learning chess at 3 or 4. You have your lemonade stand. He's instilling all the entrepreneurship ideas within you as you're growing up. You become 16 years old, you have your first multi-million-dollar company.
16, damn.
But I'm just hypothetically speaking, but you have the
that
influence.
could happen if you have the right genetics to want to pursue those things. If you are a crazy ADHD person, you have an ADHD brain, because you're genetically disposed for that, let's say that, and your dad is a tech entrepreneur, but you are not interested in tech at all. You love dancing. Your dad has never danced once in his life. Then he's not going to be able to instill the chess stuff because you can't even sit still.
But it's not about the actual activity he's doing. It's the ways of being. Stop. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't hear it.
All right. You want to get fluffy?
No.
You want to get fluffy with me?
No. Listen. Hear me out. There's a specific type of person you have to be to hit these like pinnacles of success. All right. MrBeast is it. Elon is it. Like they all had to become somebody that they weren't initially to become a billionaire. The person that he was when he was a millionaire is not the person he was when he's a billionaire. If you can teach that to your kid or your friend or somebody around you, that state is going to create
I agree.
whatever goal.
So I agree on that. There's just a nuance added to it, which is that if I am not, as a kid, interested in chess, and my dad wants to sit me down and is like, hey, play chess, and I'm like, but I want to go dancing, I want to go painting, then he can't instill those things in me because I can't sit down and focus on it because it's boring to me.
Okay, but if you like chess and he likes dancing, your son seeing you constantly do what you're doing in the mannerisms that you're doing it, he can then instill that into dancing. It's not about the actual activity.
True, but I just mean that I don't think somebody who's predisposed to be a dancer and an artist can then train himself to become a tech bro and just like, let's code for 12 hours a day and just sit behind a laptop.
Why not? He can dance for 12 hours a day. Why can't he code for 12 hours a day? Same thing applies.
The same reason why I can't code 12 hours a day.
But you don't like it. The whole point is like
That's the thing. That's what I mean.
It's the amount of effort. Don't you? I'm talking about the actual activity, like hard work, like practice,
Yeah, but
repetition.
that's in theory, but in practice, if you look at anyone who's hyper successful, they don't need to force themselves to do it. Like Elon Musk doesn't need to force himself to like, okay, let's stay up hours on end and like solve this mathematical equation on how to land this rocket. It's how his brain works. He's a fish in the water there.
Yeah, but Elon's also an outlier because he also is.
Yeah, but you see my point? That in theory, yes,
I see what you mean.
if you had unlimited willpower and you could go against what you actually want to do, yes, you can learn anything, but we're human beings and we can't.
So if we're talking about the average person, nothing is like better or worse, just purely trained. Do you think there's a correlation?
What between what?
So like if you have the average person who's not trained, like for instance, Elon Musk has, I don't know what he has, but like basically he's on the spectrum, so his brain works differently and it works in numbers, it works in math, like tech, whatever, amazing. But then you have the average person who his brain doesn't work like that. They just have to be basically trained. Do you think that they can still achieve greatness by just being trained in a specific way?
In the same way that Elon was trained?
It won't make sense because it's different
Yeah,
genetics.
yeah, of course. Yeah, well, yes, if they want to, but if they don't want to, then no. And a lot of people don't want to. So no. In theory, yes. In practice, no.
That's wild, man. It's just,
Dude, but
I'm getting confused talking about it, but I'm like, but
no, but it's like two conflicting beliefs at the same time. Have you heard that in hiring, for example, you should hire with a fixed mindset and lead with a growth mindset? When you're hiring someone and they're not performing, like in the test project, they're not performing well, they don't have attention to detail, all those things, you should hire with a fixed mindset and be like, I'm just going to assume that this person's not going to change. It's better to hire with that mindset because most people don't change. If you find your wife and she ends up being physically abusive, crazy, whatever, before you put a ring on her, you should look at that with a fixed mindset and just assume, can I accept her for how she is right now? And I won't fix her, change her, whatever. Once you're married, once you have the ring on, once you hire the person, then you approach it with a growth mindset. Well, like they're on the team now, they're my wife now. We can build this into something better than it is now. So it's like these two conflicting beliefs depending on where you're at, right? And so I don't know. Does it make sense?
I see your point. I like that. I really like what you said about the fixed mindset and hiring. I think that's a bar.
That's a bar.
That's a really good one. That was really. I'm like, oh, I like that one.
All right, we should play some sound effects. Like this
Dude,
actually
no,
has
that
a
was-
thing where it does sounds.
Dude, no, I was fire. That was actually like a
Awesome.
really good piece of
Thank
like,
you.
feedback.
I heard it from someone else, so that I didn't come up with it.
but it's solid.
It's like
I-
anything.
Yeah, thinking about it, I'm like, all right, wow, that's good.
All right, let's get to this boring topic that you don't like. This is another interesting one that I thought is interesting. Shigeru Miyamoto, he's a Nintendo game developer. For some reason, habitually measures everything he sees. He even carries around a tape measure, guessing and checking the length of everyday objects.
That was gold.
So he's just like, how much is that? What do you think? And he's just like, sure. Oh, so close.
This is what you mean with the whole like.
That's a
they're built
quirky
differently.
habit. Like, what is it about this guy's brain that works like that? But you know, it's endearing. I like it.
Dude, this podcast is gonna destroy anybody who was born normal. They're gonna think like, damn, I'm never gonna get anywhere because I'm not on the spectrum.
I don't think you could. I think if you're a normal person, you're not going to become a billionaire. Period.
That's tough, man.
Yes, it is.
Let's think about
You know what?
let's-
you know why I
let's-
think you're so passionate about this is because you're worried that you're too normal.
No, I don't want to be a billionaire.
Me neither. Me neither.
That's the thing. Like I've had a lot of success, so I don't really care. But I'm trying to help the audience be like, yo, guys, there is still faith. Like you guys
Of course. And here's the thing. I mean, you can. This is the.
like Richard Branson seems pretty normal. Mark Cuban is a perfect example of someone whose brain doesn't work in that manner.
Yeah, but he's highly competitive, and I think if you met him as a 5-year-old and you played Pokemon with him, I think you would have a really bad time because he's so obsessed with beating you.
Yeah, but that's not like, is that how your brain is wired? Or that's the fact you have older brothers that are like
No, but
assholes.
it's again, it's a trait, right? That's not the everyday person doesn't have that. They don't have that off button, and that's okay. And here's the thing: if somebody out there, if all you do is you have a normal job and you enjoy what you do, you're winning. That's my definition of success. You're happy, you're fulfilled, cool.
I feel like this is the conversation we're going to keep going back to it like throughout the
Good, good. I like it.
until one of us is like, all right, you know what? You have enough evidence to, yes, you've taken it.
You want to persuade me, huh? You want to change my mind?
Dude, I'm telling you, I've seen crazy examples of people without anything create something.
Why don't you come and present some?
Oprah.
Why don't you come and present some?
Oprah. Oprah is a perfect example.
She's not an average woman.
She literally had the worst upbringing.
Let's talk about this in another podcast.
Oh my god.
You bring me the best examples,
all right.
I'll debunk them. It's the DNA versus
Nature versus nurture.
episode.
Yeah, nature versus nurture.
Nikola Tesla, odd sleeping habits. He's one of the guys who also slept in 20-minute increments to gain more hours of productivity each day. That's the type of stuff that
That's cool.
some biohackers try to do, right? It's like, but I don't think it ever works out. So that's it. That's some weird habits on the billionaire stuff.
You think Nikola Tesla, if he was born in this day and age, you think he would have the same level of impact?
Depends, man. It depends on the impact on the nurture, right? Because like you gotta have the right environment, the right parents, like. But yeah, he would have the potential to, yeah.
Because he blew up after he died, obviously, and like 100, 200 years later. That's not what I meant. Like he was known. It's like one of those. You know how they say that artists don't really get famous until they're dead. This is kind of something similar for him. Yeah. So I think he would have, but I think Elon Musk is like the new Nikola Tesla.
Oh yeah, big time. Well, here's the thing. I think Thomas Edison is actually more like the Elon Musk, because Thomas Edison was the entrepreneur behind Nikola Tesla, and Nikola Tesla gets all the he's the one who actually invented it, but Thomas Edison is the one who's not just sold it, but made it possible for everyone to use it. And he's usually seen as the guy who's like, well, he kind of stole Nikola Tesla's thing, and it's like, no, that man deserves some crazy credit. Like Thomas Edison was a genius, and he was incredible at what he did, and Nikola Tesla could have never popularized it. So,
But it's kind of like Steve Jobs.
and Steve Wozniak, yeah. Steve Wozniak is the technical guy behind it.
He built everything, but Steve Jobs one that sold the idea, sold the dream.
You know what they don't have in common, the billionaires? Numerology.
Dude, no, this is not the episode. After all the stuff we've been talking about, I sound crazy. I've already
Numerology. Give us a 1-minute pitch for why we should not believe in it. Should believe in it. I mean.
Jesus, this is what.
Listen, you're very passionate about it.
All right, guys, don't judge. Okay, I don't want my multi-million-dollar entrepreneurs that hire me to hear this. But so when I was broke,
You were desperate and you believed anything?
I needed hope. I really needed hope.
Listen, I got into the law of attraction as well
Okay.
when I started my first business.
Do you not believe in the law of attraction?
In certain ways. In logical ways, yes. But I really went off the deep end for a few months, yeah. And I needed that. It supported me.
Yeah, listen.
But what is numerology?
Here's the thing. So when I was broke, one of my friends gave me this app. All right. And this app, I saw it and I was like, all right, whatever. It's another stupid horoscope app. I didn't really believe anything about it. I ignored it for like 6-7 months. At the time, I was still wanted to be an actor. I was trying to be like, get in the entertainment space. And I remember one night walking back home from my like shitty job that I just quit that day. And I get this email from this app saying, hey, you should hear your monthly podcast. I hear the podcast, and the first line of the podcast is like, so you finally quit. I'm freaking out. I'm like, okay, it couldn't have been any more perfect, but it wasn't enough to like sell me. I'm like, all right, let me hear what it says. This month, this is going to happen, yada. I'm like, whatever. Okay. I'm waiting for the next month. Now I'm intrigued. You have my attention. Second month comes in. I listen to it. It's like, all right, so this month you're going to be in rooms full of very powerful people, but it's not going to work out. And I remember in that time, that was the first time where, I don't know if you guys saw the live action of Aladdin. I got the audition for Aladdin. To be
You
with
as Aladdin.
No, yeah. Well, again, when I was an actor, I got the audition for that. And like the show Power with 50 Cent, I had like a role. I was gonna get like a recurring role. Like I had 3 of the biggest auditions of my life. And I was in like Lionsgate production. Like I was in some of the biggest like studios I've ever been in. Again, based on that app. I was just listening to it. I'm like, whether it's real or not, I was like manifesting or creating what it told me. I was like, okay, now I'm a little intrigued. I'm more intrigued. And then December hits. And at this time, I had lost my job. I have no money. I'm broke. And I'm like trying to figure it out. And it says, this is going to be the busiest month of your life. And I remember literally it being like December 15th. I have no work, nothing. And I'm stressed out being like, dude, so I knew this was bullshit.
And you didn't feed the app any information. It's not like it had access to your notes.
I had my name, my full name, and my my birthday.
Not the location of your birth, right?
Nope.
It's not one of those.
Those are toxic girls. You gotta stay away from them, all right? That's what it is. I'm telling you, nothing. That's all it had. And I remember, I'll never forget, December 15th, I was just sitting in my bed at night being like, I knew it was all bullshit. I was gonna give up. I was gonna move back to Morocco. I was like done. And then the next day, I get this message from one of my friends asking for, like, he's looking for somebody to hire somebody. I get into the interview, they hire me as a manager. I get promoted right away. And then I get another opportunity. And it's literally the busiest month of my life. Make more money than I've ever made. And now I'm taking a step back and I'm like, now I'm sold. I'm in. And what I realized is like in this app, it talks about like these, like, it's like these 9 years. Every year has a specific energy. It's not a fortune telling app. It's just the app that like allows you to surrender with the energy of what's happening in that month. And I've made my biggest life decisions based on that app. And I've never been richer. And I've never been more successful. I can't explain it, but literally, like, I follow that app to a T. I don't follow horoscopes. I don't follow anything else but numerology, because I mean, everything's numbers.
So numerology is the idea that certain numbers have certain spiritual connection to it. And so if I'm like number 8, then there's a certain life path that I have. And then each month is like a different, okay, this month is number 2. And number 2 means you're questioning your sexuality again.
I'm gonna lose so much credibility. And like, guys, listen, I'm a very successful entrepreneur. I need to let you know, like, I have built very successful businesses. But okay, the Chinese, they use numerology in a lot of their business dealings,
and they're becoming the world power now.
Oh,
Whoa!
I hate you. I hate you so much. You're the worst.
Listen,
you're the worst type of human being.
Open-minded.
I'm telling you, man.
I'm gonna download it. So all I have to put in is my name and my birth date.
Yes, and it'll tell you, Leon will never accomplish anything.
Oh. Shit.
Literally.
Okay. All right.
So,
I'll check it out. Maybe it'll be in the next episode, and maybe I'll figure out.
I'm telling you, you'll see your numbers. You'll see how you show up in life, and it'll tell you exactly where you are on the journey. Like for a 9-year cycle.
Well, here's the thing. Astrology. You don't believe in it.
Not the way it's taught with like hippies and like, you know.
But isn't that the same thing?
So the reason I like the numerology app is because before he created the app, he actually followed his, I think, 50 friends and had them write in journals. And he also wrote in journals for 10 years. And literally just recorded everything that's happened every single day.
10 years, that's the magic number, yeah.
Well, it's the whole 9-year cycle. That's the whole premise. Literally every single day of everything that happened every week and everything. And he literally, I'll never forget, I had 2 friends who went through the same year as me. We all broke up with our girlfriends or significant others in like a matter of a couple hours between each other. And we didn't even know this. We just literally just called each other. I'm like, oh, I just went through a breakup. I went through a breakup. And it was happening the same day. There's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of, you know, whether you believe it or not.
It gives you something to guide you.
I'm telling you, it works. I gotta meet like a freaking Chinese billionaire that uses, and Indians as well. Indians use astrology though. A lot of Indian families, they actually will, before they connect you or before they get married, they have their kids get married, they literally will see their astrological signs.
You know, there was a study that I recently read about. This guy, he conducted a study between a bunch of people that considered themselves astrology experts. Some were world class, some were really good at what they did, and all of them were confident that they can guess with a good chance what somebody's astrological sign is. So they were given 5 signs. One of them is right, 4 of them are wrong, and given like 43 questions about a person with their answers. Because it was 5 options they gave, if all they did was guessed randomly, they would have been about 20% right. So if it was anything above 20%, it would have been in favor of astrologists and experts that think they can guess it right. I think it was done with, I don't know, a few dozen astrologers. How well do you think they performed?
0%.
Like they didn't do anything better than the guesswork?
Yeah.
You're correct. And they were so confident. And they studied it for years and decades. So anyone who tells me that astrology is legit, check out this study.
I'm not the craziest fan of astrology.
Yeah, but
personally.
why numerology? Anyways, okay. We can move on. I'll check it out. I'll put in my name. I'll put in my birthday. And
We'll do it after and we'll see.
We'll now get into a very fitting topic, which is this week's edition of Guru of the Week. We have a gentleman from Croatia. This guy, all he does is heal people with his gaze.
Jesus. This is going to be a good one.
This is his business. That's how he monetizes this.
I feel healed.
So this just keeps going.
How many views?
This one, not many. Oh, 1.7 million. I didn't know it had the 1.7 million views.
So mad at myself. Why don't I have a YouTube? I think
So-
I'm doing it wrong.
This guy is a healer.
Does he talk?
No. He does not talk. He does not talk, and he also doesn't make any personal claims about, hey, I can heal. More than 7,000 people come to some of his events.
Can we see the comments? I want to see the comments. Like, dude,
Yes.
I
had cancer 3 months ago, but now it's gone. Thank you so much for uploading.
dude, this is not real.
No, this is a joke comment. This is not.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you so much for uploading. I want this stay in context. Till next time, Brasso. So his name is Brasso. He's from Croatia. And pregnant women are advised to attend only until the end of their 3rd month of pregnancy.
Why?
His gaze. It's powerful. You don't want the fetus to crawl out of you a fully born healed person. So I think similar mental gymnastics have been done before in this room today to justify how something maybe works.
I hate you.
Hey, okay, I don't want to.
This is now the audience sees this. This is our relationship. You know, we're both successful in our own right, but we have different ways of viewing life.
I'm not successful. You're successful. Listen, I'm number 3 this year, so no, I don't want to shit on it too much. I know you're passionate about it, and I'm passionate about certain things too that you may make fun of. So,
But this,
I'll give
honestly,
you some grace.
great job. Like, great job finding this guru. Like,
Oh, dude,
you're doing great.
It fell in my lap.
It was perfect. Jesus.
This man can heal you with his gaze. Whoa.
It's very endearing.
Whoa. Meet Brazo the Gazer. He cures people by gazing at them. What do you think of that monetization strategy? $8. $8, 5 minutes of gazing. And you can keep coming back in. $8 every time. Boom, boom, boom. Now listen to this testimonial. Listen to this testimonial. When I heard this, I'm like, okay, I'm sold.
No, I got this feeling in my throat. I felt like I was, I don't know, just something up to here.
That's how he looked around.
He's like, what is she talking about?
Can we talk about what's going on in his head? He's like, I can't believe this is working. The entire time, I can't believe we made it this far. It was supposed to be a joke. Now here we are.
He's just like, what is going
South
on?
Park should make an episode on him. Like, this is the person we have to make an episode on.
I should reach out to him too, just like Dan Pena.
Just have him.
Dan Pena is gonna come on the podcast soon. Well, that's the thing, right? It's like, what's the story behind this guy?
Pregnant woman already. Okay, can we?
Pregnant women are unable to attend.
I'm saying they've seen shapeshift.
I mean, it's working for people, you know. I don't know.
It's whatever people believe. I'm telling you, man, belief is so strong.
I'm here now. Before, I was floating like a ghost.
Sometimes I just think about Brazzo. I just connect with that source, and it just comes in.
Dude, human beings need something to believe in. It's kind of like even like you're teasing, but it's like in the moment of like all these people, maybe they were at their lowest point and they were just ready for like the quantum leap. And Brazos, whatever his name is, Brasso comes in their life, gives them that gaze, and then next day something happens, and that's it. They're sold. Just like, you know, with me when I was like at a low point and I got that and that supported me. It's like it's like religion.
Yeah.
It's exactly like religion. It's like people just want something to hold on to, and if you don't have that, it's like, well, what's the point of living?
Absolutely. I believe that too. Yeah. And everyone has to find their own thing that gets into the tough times. And for some people, it's this guy. But listen, how many things must you have tried in order for you to buy a book that has this cover?
What's in the book? Just pictures of him gazing?
The first book of... Why is he purple? Oh, well, yeah, we can go through it.
You bought it?
No, this was just a preview.
At least he... Wow.
Oh.
I thought it was blank. I was really hoping it was blank.
Dude, that would be deep. It's just like blank book. Just gaze into this book. Well, there's an eerie backstory about him, actually.
Eerie?
Yeah. So he had a mentor that took him under his wing. He was somebody who also had prophetic visions and was like a spiritual healer, and he was looking for someone to continue his legacy. And it was in this article here. In April of 1995, the student and his teacher visited South Africa, so Brazzo and his mentor. On a remote beach, the two were alone when a rogue wave suddenly swept away the mentor off his feet. It was the last time anyone saw him alive. Wait a minute. The only witness was Brazzo? With his healing gaze? Though Brazzo was never charged or formally implicated, his proximity to his mentor's death has raised eyebrows. It strikes some as especially convenient that Projik had removed all his gold jewelry and his wallet before he died. Driven investigations.
That's wild.
I'll be launching the investigations.
I mean, we have to find out if he's the one that killed him.
Because here's the thing, it just falls in his lap, right? It's just like...
So he
Yeah.
just took his mentor's spot?
Hailed as his heir apparent to the Psychic Empire, he returned to accolades from Projik's adoring fans.
Can we see his mentor?
Well, I don't think he...
No YouTube?
No. I mean, it was back in the day. Back when he was a young chap. But what are the chances that a spiritual healer like this is actually a sociopath killer who loves being seen as a messiah-like figure?
Dude, have you seen...
But here's the thing. Maybe he's actually just a genuine dude who's just like, yeah, just like gazing at people and they feel good. And I have some presence and, you know, yeah, $8.
It works. It works.
It's $8. What do you have to lose?
Have you seen the movie Monkey Man on Prime? It just came out. It was like directed by like Jordan Peele. And great movie. And the premise is like this kid who, long story short, basically there's this healer who is like revered as like a god in India, but basically he is like the biggest sociopath, and you don't find out until like I just ruined it for everybody. But the whole premise is like he's like obviously the evil person who like.
But there's documentary about cults like that, right? Where people are like, oh my God, this is, you know. So, but again, I don't know. I don't want to accuse him of that. I thought it was just, I thought it would just spice things up in the podcast. We have a bit of like murder mystery because those podcasts are really like, I'm just trying to gather views here, you know.
Dude, it's wild.
Anyways, yeah, that's the Guru of the Week.
Wild.
Final segment.
All right, hit me.
I don't know if this podcast is too immature and childish. Maybe you guys can let us know. But the next segment is going to be a serious one. Kind of. This is a new segment, and we're all about giving insane value on this podcast, right? So much value that it almost hurts. I don't know about you, but personally, I come up with trillion-dollar business ideas all the time.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you? Probably
Sometimes.
not. Okay. This segment, we're giving one away. This is the $1 trillion business ideas segment. We're giving it away. You can go and run with it. You can build it. It's our idea. All we ask for is 1% equity when you sold it. So if it sells for $1 trillion, that's just 10 billion.
Yeah, easy.
We have a deal. This business idea I had, I think 3 trillion potential. And I think it can actually be sold in about 2 years.
Why 3 trillion specifically?
You'll see.
Okay.
It's a massive market. It's a massive market, and it taps into a deep human need that we all have. And I also already have the company prepared that it's going to sell to. The UFC.
Okay.
Let me pull out my my presentation. Wait, look away for a second. I don't want to spoil it. All right, open your eyes. Get ready. This is a $1 trillion business idea number 1.
Love it. Wow.
So I put together a quick slide presentation for this. So this is how I would pitch it to Dana White. So
I see it.
I think the UFC should acquire this company. Dana White is worth 500 million. UFC is at 12 to 15 billion by now, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And they could easily acquire this for 3 trillion.
Yeah, easy.
So I don't know if you heard about the Power Slap. It's a new branch that they recently developed. So this is a UFC. People get kicked in the face. Power Slap. People get slapped in the face. Right?
Yeah.
And so they're all about niche sports that are considered too gory, disgusting, terrible, whatever. And they make it mainstream. Power Slap is insanely successful now. You would not believe it, how successful it is. Like have you seen it before? It's
terrifying.
It's terrifying. But that's what people used to say about UFC. And now it's a mainstream sport. You know? So, niche sport. Here's the thing. What do all of these have in common?
Do you think power slapping is more dangerous than UFC?
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
It's all head.
Yeah, it's all concussion.
And there's no guarding.
Yeah. It's wild. Hey, you just stand there, get slapped.
Oh. He almost looks like you, bro.
Wait, the one on the...
Getting smacked.
This one? The one kicking? Yeah, I agree.
No. That one, the blue.
So here's the thing. What do they all have in common? Number 1, they're a niche sport that became mainstream.
Okay.
Number 2, high stakes. Your life is on the line.
I don't like how you didn't spell. I don't like how you like capitalized high. It's kind
Listen,
of
this is we're run and gun. We're just going for it. We're not no perfection.
What's
We're
kind
just
of
like
irking me.
body fluids, blood, sweat, tears, snot.
Yep, gotta have that.
There's got to be a snot fly compilation at some point in the Power Slap. The problem is it only targets the male audience. That's bad. Listen, it is bad because look at how much business they're missing out on by not targeting women. How many women do you know that are like, oh, UFC, you want to watch the UFC fight this weekend? Zero. Absolutely zero.
Unless the fighter is hot and they're into him.
Yeah, but I mean, look.
Yeah,
Anyways,
not the hottest, but
now here's the thing. With this company, we're solving a big problem with this new idea that I have.
okay.
Because how often in your life have you seen your girlfriend or sister or mom cry and say, there's just no high stakes niche sport involving body fluids for me to watch?
All the time.
It happens to you too.
It's actually heartbreaking.
In the anecdotal experiences lies massive scale. Because if you have the experience and I have it too, this is a huge problem that we're solving because women are suffering. They need something to look at.
I see it.
Now let's look at how Dana actually came up with the idea for Power Slap. This is very revealing.
Just biting down on something, I'm gonna fucking watch.
That's what happened to me when I started looking at this stuff in like 2018. It was on Instagram, and this stuff was coming out of Russia and Poland.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the is this, right? So I take a deeper dive into it, and looks like it was filmed on a flip phone in a barn somewhere. They're literally slapping over a barrel, and it's got 350 million views on YouTube. And at the time, that was like a fucking Justin Bieber video.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? What if I did this?
Yeah.
Made it an actual sport, got it sanctioned, and put good production value behind it.
He looked on YouTube, saw how much appeal there already was, but there was just not production value behind it. There was not scale behind it. Do you know what also has billions of views? And is a niche sport, high stakes, involves body fluids. It's kind of gory, and it targets primarily women. Pimple popping.
That's very true.
Pimple popping. Hear me out. Listen, Power Slap seemed dumb. Now billions of dollars. UFC, crazy. Now, one of the biggest sports, if not the biggest sport, I don't know. Pimple popping. We all seen videos like this online that are just so satisfying, where there's just some dermatologist squeezing pimples out of someone. And guess who this targets?
Woman.
Comments. If you look at the comments, listen, millions of views. This one, 50 million views. This video. Just one channel.
Yeah, that's pretty satisfying.
Huge. Isn't that satisfying? But where's the production value? Where's the arena? Where's the competition? Where's the people? Where are the chanting fans? Where's the story behind, the backstory behind this person that built these pimples over the years? And here's the thing. The same way that fighting is primal, this is primal. Back in the day, this is in our DNA. We wanted to fight. Listen, have you had this before with a girlfriend too, where she was like, "Hey, can I get that pimple?
All the time.
Can I pull that hair off of your back? You have a really long hair. Let me pull it. Let me pull it." It's an obsession. It's deeply ingrained in the DNA, and it's the same thing that we have here. So we make it a team sport.
Jesus Christ.
But this is team sport. You have an athlete that is growing the pimples like a pumpkin. You know, a pumpkin competition. Who can grow the biggest pumpkin? Who can grow the biggest pimples? Go to the UFC arena, and then the second part of the team is the extractor, somebody who's making sure they get the most out of it. And then, well, the way it's weighed, it's 1v1, and then who gets, it's measured in buckets. Who's got the most,
I hate that you actually went all out and actually created this.
Why?
Like, I just hate it. I hate everything about this, but it makes sense.
It does make sense.
I hate that it makes sense.
Listen, I took a shower and I walked out of that shower with a $1 trillion idea. You can go and build it now and sell it to Dana White, because the potential is there. This is literally the magical trifecta of the UFC empire that I see. UFC, power slap, pimple popping life. That's the business idea for this week. What do you think?
Wow. Can we give it ratings?
Yes.
6 out of 10.
What is that rated on? What?
Just 6 out of 10, just overall.
Like 6 out of 6.
No, I give it 6 out of 10. I mean, listen, I think it's great, but like, do you really think people would come and watch this?
Yes, they're already watching it on YouTube.
Yeah, but in YouTube, like, they're not gonna go to an actual stadium and watch it.
Listen, girls go out all the time to watch nothing.
Can we make like a poll?
Yeah, let's go to the comments. Female listeners, would you buy a ticket? Would you buy a ticket? Listen, we'll put this together at some point.
I'm honestly down.
We'll put this together in Austin. There's going to be who has the biggest pimples? You've always been in the shadows. You've always stayed at home. You thought your life would amount to nothing. You're now an athlete. Whatever pimples you have, make them bigger. Because this is what we celebrate in Pimple Popping Life. And we're going to tell your story, your backstory, how your parents didn't love you, how you trained your whole life for this day to get these pimples popped.
All the sugar you've eaten, all the like dirty pillows you put your face on, every horrible thing that's ever happened to you.
We can make it happen. Event here in Austin.
At least the audience knows that my reaction is all real every time I see this.
Great. Listen, but here's the thing. If somebody builds it, 1% equity. All I'm asking for, Ima doesn't get it. If he doesn't rate it a 10 out of 10, you don't get equity. Are you cool with that?
No, listen, 10 out of 10 if that's the case.
Okay.
We don't know what's going to happen.
Good.
Somebody might take this and run with it.
And I want front seats every day.
For the rest of your life.
Yes. So, that's the pod. Thanks for watching. Stay driven. I'm going to go celebrate my birthday now.
Good talk.
It's my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday. I thought it was Saturday. What a way to end it. This is so dramatic.
Listen, you don't like my ideas. You believe in numerology. You don't remember my birthday.
Yo, honestly.
Cut it here.
We have
Thanks
to
for watching. See you in the next one.